I put that down to,
Go on.
Perry is right-handed and I'm left-handed, right? So I was doing the commentating and Perry was putting the awards out, right? So I'm going through the awards, but I'm left-handed. So I want to go right to left. Like, but Perry's done left to right, like a normal human.
A true left-hander.
Like a true left-hander. I just want to do all the backwards thing. I'm joined this week by my mate Jamie for a chat, a cup of tea and a chat. What you just heard us chatting about in the intro was how we actually met, was when I didn't give Jamie an award that he had actually won, and I that no you haven't, and goes off my stage only to realise that I can't actually count or add up in my head when I'm under pressure. And so this lovely gentleman who had to then apologise to profusely, who was standing there with no award, having won one, watching his award walk off into the distance with the person who didn't actually win it, was very gracious, very warm and forgiving about that sort of situation, which understandably a lot of artists would get upset about, because you put a lot of work into something and then to be robbed of it at the last minute by some fuckwit who can't count would be annoying. But he was really lovely about it. We got into a conversation about, well, you know, the least I can do is ask you to come on the show and have a chat. That's about the best I can do. Before I proceeded to apologise to what felt like half of the convention, which happened after that. And so finally, here we are, almost like a year later.
The funny thing is, I didn't know about any of these apologies or anything. No one told me. I watched the video, your apology video, a few weeks after. I was on my way back from Alton Towers, listening to it on Spotify. And I heard my name. I'm on this show. Great. Drop me a message and here we are. Finally.
Chatting.
Almost a year later. So,
in case you don't know Jamie's work, and I'm sure you do, he hasn't had to drive very far to get to my studio, because we both live in the Midlands, so you're only about 10 miles from my house. You've got your own studio in Birmingham, in the Jewellery Quarter, which is called? Chapters. You've had it for
about 3.5 years.
3.5 years. He's just been showing me some of the renovation work that they had to do, and I thought the renovation of my studio was bad, but his was the real deal. It looked like one of those makeover shows, you know when they go, here is what we've got to turn into the kids' bedroom.
It's a 2-storey, Grade 2 listed building that was derelict for 5 years.
So back to the brick, all the way around, and then build it up.
Back to the brick, everything went. Luckily enough, we had a lot of help. It's still not quite there, but then again, when is the studio ever there?
Yeah, studios are like paintings, aren't they? We only ever really abandon them.
I love the building, all the original features. It's a really nice place to work. Homely but industrial at the same time.
That's exactly what you want. And the Jewellery Quarter is a really nice part of town. You know what I mean? It's just slightly out of town.
There's so much work happening there at the minute. There's so many
crazy
buildings being renovated. Like, you walk past a building, you'll think it's an old abandoned warehouse. It's not. It's a nightclub or it's a pub or a restaurant. It's great.
Apparently the streets are literally paved with gold, because so much gold has been dropped as they move it around between the jewellers. This is one of the stories. I've got a couple of... I used to work in the Jewellery Quarter, as I was telling you. I worked in a recording studio on Mary Street in the Jewellery Quarter, and a mate of mine years ago, his job was to carry the gold between the different jewellery companies. Right. And one of their favourite things to do is, what you don't want is a well-dressed bloke in a suit with a nice watch on, with a briefcase chained to his wrist. So my mate, who literally looks like Bruce Springsteen, would walk hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of gold from one jeweller's to another in an Asda bag. The other supermarkets are available, of course. And he doesn't have to be that particular supermarket.
Yeah, that's a bit risky.
I know
it's the Jewellery Quarter, but it is still Birmingham.
He's a doorman. So he could look after himself. Okay. He was all right, his whole family used to run the doors.
It's funny you saying that about the gold. I know a couple of the jewellers still work in the Jewellery Quarter. They post all of their gold back to them every single day.
No way.
Yeah, one of the neighbours on my street does the same thing. So rather than keeping any of his precious metals on site, he will post them to himself and ship them overnight.
How bizarre. Just to keep it out the building.
Just to keep it out the building every single day.
Jeez, so crazy. But lovely part. If you're going to go and have a look round, go and say hello to Jamie. It's a good studio. Private though, so you'll have to make an appointment, because he's not going to just let you in and go gawking at stuff. So I wanted to, when I normally start with is we start with, obviously the artwork.
Yeah.
And so how do you describe your artwork?
It's a tattoo.
Yeah. Can I describe what I think?
And lines.
Yeah. Can I describe what I think I see, and then you tell me if I'm correct?
I think straight away you're going to say neo-traditional.
I think yes. Yeah. I look at neo-trad, but I think you come from the Derek Noble, Thomas Hooper end of neo-trad, more than the Eckel end of neo-trad.
Okay.
Are you surprised I know what neo-trad is?
No, I'm surprised some of those names. I appreciate them, really.
The thing that attracted me to your work in the first place was the level of colour saturation that you achieve in your tattoos.
Okay.
I think in the modern era, it was very easy to instantly write it off and say, well, that's been photoshopped, because that is a factor that some people do. Now, I can tell you that I'd seen some of Jamie's work, not had that thought, went, blimey, that's bright. But the first time I saw it in real life, that's when you really realise that you go, shit, the level of saturation in that tattoo is really good. And it really, I actually think, now when I look at it, I actually realise that, a bit like me, your photos don't do your tattoos justice, because I think your tattoos look better in the real world, which is where they should look better.
Terrible photographer.
Well, you're a very good tattooist, so
hopefully it makes up for my photography skills.
It kind of balances it out. But is it a magic needle? Is it a magic tattoo machine? Is it magic ink? Is it technique? Is it colour theory? How do you achieve it?
Do you really want to know my secret technique?
Well, they do.
It is indeed Photoshop.
It's just a filter.
It's really not. I'm a tattooing nearly 14 years now, so it's just all the accumulative crap that I've learned over 14 years put into one tattoo. So because I do the same style pretty much religiously, it's giving me more time to focus on trying to perfect the techniques that I use to create whatever it is that I do.
Yeah.
So you're saying trying to describe your tattoos to someone, it's really hard for me to describe it.
It is,
because it is constantly changing. It is still around the neo-traditional bright colour sort of genre, but it's still evolving, and it will constantly evolve for the rest of my career.
Well, we all hope for that, don't we? To keep moving forward and for it to never, I think what happens, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, I think, and I was saying the funny thing is, I think when you start, you learn something new every single day, because day one you don't know anything about tattooing. Day two you know a bit, so you know 100% more than you knew yesterday. But then as you progress, that this learning curve, it starts to flatten out a little bit, and then we find ourselves.
But as long as it's not completely flat,
it's not completely flat, because you just stagnated then. But then what you find yourself doing is, and I think it's one of the reasons why it does flatten out for people, is it takes a lot more effort to get a tiny bit. Like when you first start, it takes almost no effort to be better than you were yesterday. Because if you knew nothing yesterday and you know one thing about tattooing.
But this could go back to what we were talking about earlier about bringing the ego into the tattoo industry with a few certain artists. Like if you got that wavelength and it has leveled out, is it because you've stopped trying, or is it because you think you're good enough that you don't need to learn anymore? Yeah,
I think there's definitely a part of that. We were having a conversation off camera, before we started recording, about neither of us are fans of the ego side of tattooing. I think we both agree that just doing tattoos is already a win. It's enough of a win, right?
It's the best job I can think of.
Right.
Artistic release every single day and you're getting paid for it. It's great.
Yeah, I don't need anything else.
No, not at all.
That's fine. I'm getting paid to do what I do and what I really love every single day.
You do find that with the people, when everyone's got a bit of an ego, let's face it. Everyone's got a little bit of an ego. It's whether you keep it in check or not.
Yeah, definitely.
But with the people that don't keep it in check, those are the people that won't learn or progress because they can't take those constructive criticisms.
Well, because then the criticism is no longer constructive, is it? Any criticism is negative then. When you're full of ego, anything that is like, no. Yeah. And I think that, for me, I think all of us fall a little bit, because like I say, we've all got ego. And then if you're lucky enough that your work takes off, then you kind of, there's a little bit of that thrown to the wolves moment to start with, where, okay, this is all a bit different from what I thought it was going to be. How am I going to exist in this? And I think to varying levels, we all stumble a little bit as we find our feet on this new, I was like, shit, I didn't think I was going to be running this race. Okay, I'm here, brilliant, but how am I going to survive? And then most of us kind of get back to that of like, okay, like be the beginner mindset, you know, every day is a new day, keep learning every day, keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm trying to venture into different styles that I haven't done for years and years.
Yeah.
Like black work and stippling. I can't remember the last time I did a black work or a stipple tattoo.
Yeah.
But I've got a few friends that are really good at this sort of style work.
Yeah.
So I'm asking them questions and they're saying, well, why are you asking me? Because I don't do this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to learn how to do heavy saturated tattoos, hopefully you'd ask me.
Yeah.
You do stipple tattoos, I'm going to ask you. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
But like, don't be too proud to ask for help or ask for an opinion at all.
I think it's the only way you grow, isn't it?
Massively.
So if you've got to pinpoint one thing, like as you've been getting to these highly detailed, colourful tattoos, deeply saturated, on that road to, you know, deeply saturating your tattoos, was there one, oh my God, that's a game changer technique or, you know, colour theory that came up where you went, oh my God, that's changed everything, now they look really bright?
When I first started doing the neo-traditional sort of style work, I was leaving skin gaps in absolutely everything. And it'd be like 4 or 5 different colour blends coming out to black and out into skin tone. And I was getting a bit too complicated with shit. Yeah. So I started to strip it back a little bit. And then we had a girl called Michelle Madison come to guest with us back at the old studio. Yeah. And it was the first time that I'd really seen like a proper full saturated tattoo, no skin showing through whatsoever. And I went, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So the full saturation first started from me sitting there and watching Michelle work, and just how good she was at doing her work. So the one for me that really nailed colour for me, that really was Leah Mull. Yeah. Leah worked with me. She was supposed to be here for 3 days and stayed for a year because her building got a bit behind schedule. Right. So she just hung around for a year. And I think that I learned more about colour tattooing in that 12-month period than I've learned any before. I got tattooed by Leah. She did a piece on the back of my knee. I messaged her to book in for it. We ended up doing a tattoo swap. Yeah. So I thought I couldn't sit there and maybe watch her and see how she's doing this and doing that. And then like an idiot got the back of my knee tattoo, so I couldn't see. Yeah. But it's healed absolutely solid. Yeah. But yeah, she's very positive to her. Like you feel those needles going in. I've got my rib cage done. Yeah. And you definitely. She will tell you, I'm going to get this out on camera now before she gets a chance to. She will tell you that I passed out in her studio. Yeah. It's a lie. I did not pass out in Leah's studio. I fell down a step. Right. And I fell over on the floor. Well, I'm going to get Leah on the show and we'll get her side of the story. Did Jamie pass out in your studio? She will tell you that I passed out. And every time I see her, she says it. And I did not. I fell down a step in the studio on my way to the toilet. Oh, well, there you go. She'll tell you that you passed out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think she's well known because of the style that she does with the saturation. It's not always the most comfortable tattoo that you're going to get. It's not dot work at the end of the day. No, it's a very different sensation. And I told her when she tattooed my rib cage, it was like having my soul tattooed. To be honest with you, I was like, mate, I'm not sure if I can do this. I might have bitten off more than I can chew, but I've got to be honest. Of all the tattoos that I've had, it's the easiest heal. And the most saturated tattoo I've got on my entire body, but it's the easiest heal I've ever had. It was like, it's in there. I mean, I feel like some of it might be in my DNA now, it's that deep, but like, it heals so well. Because it's in and out, you're in there, you get the saturation and you're out. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that surprised me about colour specialists, when you're really specialist about that. She did a colour section the size of like a side plate, in the time that, you know, fucking hell, I'd probably do something the size of a 50p piece, but it was really there. Do you know what I mean? And like, so it's really efficient. Yeah, okay, you know, that
that technique does make it a bit of a challenge at times.
I'm kind of like in between the two sort of techniques when it comes to the saturation, the packing.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I do isn't just solid circle saturation, gating there as quick as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of it's cross-hatching to get the saturation.
Right.
Doing it that way, I can afford to spend a bit more time on the skin to get those blends as smooth as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And with a cross-hatching technique, not just one way and then the other way, it's kind of like 3 or 4 different ways. Yeah. So it's a way of affording more time on the skin without damaging the skin.
Yeah.
And just from doing that, I can get like a nice clean
bend.
Transition.
It blends
as clean as I can try to get it anyway.
Clean enough for me, mate, to be honest with you. I think they're super clean, to be honest with you. Like, big challenge doing those, those perfect gradients across stuff. I mean, it's quite difficult to maintain it, isn't it? It
was really difficult when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
But then just by asking artists questions and getting tattooed by people and watching people at shows was a really big one for me, and like watching how they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Watching people's tutorials and seminars and stuff, like it all just kind of comes together.
Yeah.
And obviously 14 years of mistakes, learning from them.
It is really, isn't it? Like, I try and do it a little bit better tomorrow. I'll try and do that a little bit better tomorrow. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I come into work and really the only person I'm interested in competing with, for all the reasons I've told you, is me yesterday. And the only thing that becomes problematic is me yesterday's pretty good. So, and he keeps getting a little bit better, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, you just get to a point where you just go like, he is, like me yesterday was an all right tattooist.
You're only as good as your last tattoo.
Exactly, right? So that's all I'm ever trying to look at it. But I'm like, but that's each day. If you're doing it properly, I think there's a little increment. It's like, okay, well, he got better again,
yeah.
And so that's how I kind of do it. But I've never been afraid to ask. I mean, I'll ask the guys here that I taught to tattoo. I still think they can teach me something because they're completely different people from me. They use different tools, they apply it differently. So why wouldn't I learn from somebody? Just because somebody's been tattooing for 2 years doesn't mean they can't give me an amazing tip about tattooing. Yeah. I don't know everything, and I doubt I ever will, to be honest, because that's the other thing that I think comes with this. After you've been doing it for a bit, I think it's like 10 years in, you go through that bit when you think, I'm starting to get the hang of this. And I always compare it to mountain climbing. It's like getting to the top of what you thought was the mountain and realising that was only a peak, and there's actually Everest is where you're going. And I think like 5 or 10 years in, you get to that point where you start getting, I might be starting to get a handle on this. And then just as you do that, you get over the crest and
change completely.
What the fuck? I've got to do all that.
Yeah.
So then after a while you go, I'm probably only, in a single lifetime, I've probably only got time to scratch the surface in one area as one single human being.
I did a tattoo a couple of weeks ago and I got to the end of it and I just really weren't happy with it at all.
Yeah.
And I started questioning my techniques. I was like, I've been showing people these techniques. I've been teaching this to other people. Have I got it wrong? Have I really fucked up? It turned out that the client just had some rough skin.
Yeah.
And I've seen it healed. It's healed perfectly fine, but the pictures just didn't do it justice in the end, and just some tough skin. So either I've had really good luck for the past 5-6 years, and I've had clients with perfect skin every single tattoo, or the techniques was wrong on this tattoo. As I say, it's healed, it's perfectly fine, but just one tattoo can knock your confidence.
It's funny
massively.
you mentioned that, right? Because I literally saw it yesterday and fixed it up. I had a client for the first time in years had a fucking nightmare with a piece of colour that I put in, and I remember doing the tattoo going, blue just doesn't seem to be sitting. So I'm like throw the cap of ink away, reshake the bottle, make sure I haven't got the pigment out of that, poured it in again. It was like just one day I was like really struggling to get this panel of colour in, and the client's bodies pushed it all out. I had a terrible heal with it, nightmare. I'm on the phone with it. It was a good client. I'm doing a lot of tattoo work on him, and I'm like, is it only the blue? And he's like, yeah, it's just that one blue. Yeah. So, and I was like, well, the first place he goes, or maybe you've got an allergy to that pigment or something. So I saw it yesterday, but the lines are fine around it.
Yeah.
So I've lined it out to make the shape, but where I filled it, I'm like, I know I changed my needle, I know I swapped my machine.
The process
I did
of elimination.
all of it. It just never happened. 3 years ago, you took on a derelict building, you've opened your own studio, and you've got people now to manage, you've got the building to manage. What's been your your biggest challenge and your biggest reward, do you think, in doing it? Do you struggle? I mean, for all I know, you've got a degree in, business management or something.
No, not at all. I went to university, but not for that.
Yeah.
It's a really good question, actually. I think the hardest part of it was finding the right people to put together to kind of manage themselves more than anything else.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a tattoo artist first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm a business owner like fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a very good businessman. I never will be a very good businessman. We don't handle the artist diaries; they handle it themselves.
Yeah.
My wife Emma helps me run the studio. She does the vast majority of the admin.
Yeah.
We've got a guy called Glenn that comes in 3 days a week. If I like him that week, he's shop concierge.
Yeah.
If I don't like him that week, he's shop bitch. And between myself, my wife, and Glenn, like pretty much all the tasks around the studio are taken care of.
Yeah.
But it's like a good little team of we know what we've got to do when we've got to do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's one thing I really don't like is the repeating myself, like the asking someone to do something and ask them to do it again the following day. So I think it's important to find the team together that you've only really got to say something once or twice and they get it.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to worry about it then. I ain't got to sit there double-checking all the messages, double-checking the emails.
Yeah.
The job's taken care of, so I can just delegate. It's
delegate.
Yeah, it's been pretty smooth.
So last time I was chatting with Tanya Buxton, and that was the piece of advice that I gave to her, because she opened her studio just in lockdown or just after lockdown, and which would be around the same time as you, I would imagine.
Roughly, yeah.
And so I said to her that, the thing that I've learned is if you can't do it for yourself, because I'm a diehard DIYer, if I can do it myself, I'll do it myself. But one of the things I learned is it's always good to invest in people in people to do the job, because I happily pay my accountant to do my accounts for me, because I don't want to learn how to do that. Because it just makes me feel slightly sick, and it's upsetting looking at how much money you spent on paper towel in 1 year. When you start adding stuff up.
I think a good accountant's crucial. It really is. They're worth their money. They're worth their weight in gold, really.
Yeah, absolutely. They know where all the bodies are buried. But so, did you find anything about it particularly challenging?
Surprisingly, when we first opened the studio, I really struggled to find good artists to begin with, which was something I didn't think I'd struggle with at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, owning my previous studio, we've always had like at least 3 or 4 artists constantly interested in the studio. Then when I opened it, I didn't have that at all.
No.
And I think lockdown probably played like a really big part in it.
Yeah.
I think lockdown, all these artists had these government grants or the help, and let's face it, a lot of them probably were still working throughout lockdown as well from home. So they had all this extra money.
Yeah.
What do you do? You got 20 grand. You've never had 20 grand before.
Yeah.
You go and open your own studio.
Studio, yeah.
Oh, so the massive influx of studios.
Of course.
So the artists weren't really there.
No.
Because they had their own places.
Yeah, they built their own places.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose that probably compounds, where a lot of people think we're heading at the moment, is that there's too many studios at the moment around the world. Where I'm starting to, I personally don't think that tattooing is slowing down. I think there's more tattoo studios, so there's more, there's more competitors.
I think it depends on who you are and how you market yourself as an artist.
I think that's a big deal.
It goes back to, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing newer artists in the industry, but the less you charge, that's the kind of clientele that you're going to attract, is the people that can afford a £150 to a £200 tattoo. Yeah. The kids that are in university or got part-time jobs working in a coffee shop or something like that, not making that much money. Yeah. They're the kind of demographic that you're going to attract. Yeah. When you get to the stage where you're charging £500, £600, £700 a day, you attract a different kind of clientele. Absolutely. A kind of clientele that the downturn in the economy, thank you, isn't really going to affect that much. Yeah. The 25 to 40 year old professionals settled into their career. Yeah. These are the people that can afford these kind of tattoos and not have to worry about paying for their Asda bill at the end of the month or paying for their gas bill at the end of the month. Yeah.
completely.
So I genuinely do think like your clientele will change. I'm not saying take this advice over the top and go start charging £2,000 a day.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that, you can try and do that. I'm not here to say yes or no.
Well, it's funny because you reminded me of a speech that I give here all the time, right? So I tell everybody, and it's from the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Layer Cake, right? So I tell everybody, it's like this.
Long time ago.
Right, so there's a great, it's kind of like paraphrasing it really, and I tell all the guys there, I mean, look, tattooing is a layer cake, right? In our country, in England, it's called a sponge cake, layer cake, right? So when you start out, you're in the base of the cake, right? And that's okay, but it's maybe a little bit burnt at the bottom. It's been sitting in the oven, in the baking tray. It's not the best bit. Then you get into the first layer of the sponge. It don't seem too bad. Then as you go up there, you start tasting jam, a little bit of jam and cream. Now, a little bit of jam and cream is really nice with a bit of sponge, but then you get to a point where you're sitting there, and at some point you've got to get to the next layer, because you realise that jam and sponge isn't going to sustain you. So you got to you're kind of not in that layer, and you're not in the next layer. You're just stuck in the jam.
I have never heard this analogy before. I like it.
Now, but what you want to do is you've got to be careful, because you've got to understand that stage is your liminal point. It's like where you're not the tattooist you were, but you're not quite yet the tattooist that you're going to be. This is the point where you go, I'm going to charge, instead of 150 quid a day, I'm going to charge 250 quid a day, 350 quid. So all your 150 quid clients are probably going to go find someone else for 150 quid. You might bring a few with you that will go, all right, I'll stretch to 250. But you're in this kind of liminal phase where you ain't got any 350 a day clients, 450 a day, 500. So you're not sure where you're going. So there's a phase where you're not what you were, but you're not quite what you are yet, and it's really uncomfortable, and that's what makes everybody scared, and it's why a lot of people go, stick it back down to 150 quid and stay where I am, and they stick in the bottom layer, and that's why they never go.
It's just going to hurt you in the long run, keep doing
exactly,
that.
You're stuck in the bottom layer.
It's the artists that constantly put out the half-price offers all the time. So why would someone pay you £500 a day when you're constantly advertising days for 250? Why?
It's like if you always have a flash day where you do your stuff really cheap, a lot of people are just going to wait for your next flash day. They won't come back for another tattoo. So what you have to do is push through the liminal stage, the jam phase, get yourself into the next layer, and then you've got the next thing, 250 a day, 350 a day, 450 a day, 500. Now then you're going to reach the next bit. It's like, okay, once you go over this threshold, you're now into another place, right? Which is like, that's not the middle of tattooing anymore. You're into something, if you're getting up into the 7, 8, 9,000 and above a day, that's another place. And then but then you've got to get through another jam phase, haven't you? Where jump into that is like, that's kind of scary. You have all these questions of is the tattoo worth it at that point? Because you have to ask yourself that point. At that point you go, does it have an inherent value? Do we get to a point? See, I'd ask this question over the last few years. Are some of the tattooists around guilty of just pushing tattooing beyond the point where it's affordable for people?
It depends on the demographic they're targeting.
Absolutely.
I mean, these people that do charge the ridiculous amounts. There's artists in New York charging $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a day.
Yeah.
Their clientele might be living in penthouses in New York. They might be driving Lamborghinis, Ferraris. Yeah. To them, that's fine.
I mean, my understanding is it's only in the city.
It goes back to the reaching for the Asda's beans or the Heinz. Everyone's going to want to kind of go for the Heinz because they feel like they're getting something.
You want to
spend a few more pennies, get something a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying to people don't do the offers. If you want to do the offers to get your portfolio working, great.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily something you need to advertise every single post.
No.
Every single day.
No.
It's just going to devalue you as an artist.
Well, the thing I say to my guys whenever they're talking about that stuff, I'm like, you can if you want, but when was the last time you seen a Lamborghini on sale?
I had a guest artist come and work with us maybe about 6 months ago. Really, really nice guy. Not got much of a diary, but he was a great artist. And he turned up on the first day. He was there for 4 days. He turned up on the first day. I was like, are you all right, mate? Have you got anything in today? We advertised him. Any inquiries pushed directly to him. He said, I got one in this morning and then I got nothing for the afternoon. I went, okay, do you want me to put a post out for you? He went, no. So, okay, no problem. Finished his first tattoo. Another one turned up and another one turned up. was like, okay, have you got anything in tomorrow? No, not tomorrow, but I have the day after. I went, okay, no problem, I'll see you the day after.
Yeah.
It turned up the following morning, he booked a day sitting in. And then it turned up the following day. And I said, have you got anything for the last day? I've only got a small bit of scripting, which is bringing a mate with her. Okay, he ended up tattooing a mate as well for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
This guy never, ever advertises discounts, ever. And he's only ever got around about a week or two's diary, and he works 5 days a week. You can't really...
You can't knock that, can you? You can't knock that. You got a system going.
No discounts, no nothing. He just did what he wanted to do, and it works.
And it works perfectly.
It works for him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily say it's going to work for everybody out there.
Well, that's one of the conversations I'm having with these guys.
It's not a written art, is it? It's this.
Well, that's one of the things that I hate, having worked in marketing. I hate seeing these people that are kind of turning up in tattooing now to give you the 5 tips that you need to market your tattoo business. And it's the same 5 tips they give you to be successful trading Forex or doing anything else. And I'm like, I've done marketing consultancy work for people, and I'm like, that is not how it starts. You know, if you say for argument's sake, I was consulting with you, the first question I ask you is, please define success. Where are we going? Because I can't market your business unless I know where your business has got to go, right? So what I need to know from you, like if I was asking you versus this other guy might go, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that, Paul. I don't want any posting or anything. I just want to work steadily. I'm like, okay, we need to market you very differently from you. Like before you do any kind of activity and sell your business, you have to define, what does success mean to me? You know, and the other thing is, you have to be aware of the fact that will change throughout your career. Like, what I wanted at the start of my business is very different from what I want now. You know, my goals have changed.
Yeah.
And so when you market your business, and you go through all the marketing will not work for any business if there isn't an outcome predefined, because you don't know if it's working. Yeah. You've got to have the checkered flag to know if your marketing activity has worked. And that's the only way to do it. You define, what do we want this product to do?
Just setting yourself small goals, get to that goal.
Set goals. And the other thing is, I always get people to write a bunch of stuff down, because a lot of the time, and I have this all the time when I ask artists, I'm like, describe your art, describe your business, describe what you do. And they all go, I find it really difficult. I'm like, you shouldn't.
Like I have just.
Everybody I've interviewed, like, what do you do? Like, I'm like, mate, you've got to have this sorted. So what I do is I sit down with artists and I go, right, this is called an elevator pitch. Now, this is something that it was created for business. If I get stuck, I've got 5 minutes to pitch you an idea for a business that I want to do, and I want you to invest in it. And I might not get a meeting with you, but I might get stuck in a lift with you for 5 minutes, like travelling between floors. Yeah. I need a quick pitch. What can I tell you about my business? Well, we don't use it for that. But what I do is I use it to focus people's mind on, what is it that you do? Give me a quick paragraph that you can tell me between floors in a lift to tell me what you do as a tattooist and as an artist, and why I should go and have a look at your Instagram. Now,
that'd set me a while to write.
But here's the thing though, once you write it, right, then by the time you finish writing it, you've got to, really it's an exercise in understanding what it is that you do.
Yeah.
The outcome is that paragraph. But actually for you, it's that sitting down and really thinking and defining what it is that you do. Now, all of a sudden, your marketing is based on that definition. And then I get people to write 5 things, write 5 things down that could be said about your business in any Instagram post that you do, and repeat those a lot. Because tattoo art, I think all artists take this. One of the things a lot of artists say to me is, I hate repeating myself. Like, I did this tattoo, I don't want to post it more than once. And I'm like, really? Like, I'll promote one tattoo for a year if I feel it's necessary. You know what I mean? Because I put a lot of work into it. I busted my ass tattooing it. I'm really proud of it. I've took great photographs of it. You think I'm going to post it once? Absolutely not. I'm really proud of it. I'm going to tell people about it. If I'm really smart, I'll video it. I'll take different photographs of it. I'll take product shot type photographs. I'll take photographs of it healed. And I'll keep talking about it, because I think of my tattoos like I'd think of songs that I write. I'm not going to not just play you that song once. I'm not. If I'm proud of it, I want everybody to hear it as many times as I can.
Yeah, this is really good advice.
So I'm like, if you're going to put all that work into it, sitting every evening, like every one of you fuckers probably are going to do tonight, sitting with an iPad, crying, drawing tomorrow's tattoo. You know, right? And what, you're going to do all that work and then you're only going to post it once? Are you kidding me? Like, post it a lot.
Mate, I'm guilty of all of these things that you just said.
But the thing is, me too. Me too, mate. I do it as well. But the thing is, like, by teaching, and I'm going to come on to your teaching in a second, by teaching this stuff to people, this is what keeps it at the forefront of my mind. Like you were telling me earlier with your seminars and everything, that you learn as much as you deliver.
Yeah.
Well, I have exactly the same thing with the marketing stuff that I teach. When I sit down with artists and go, this is how your business can work. Because I strip away, because I worked in marketing for 10 years. But what I do is I strip away all of the marketing buzzwords. See, like you were just talking about this guy coming in and having his work and don't do discounts, charge this amount of money. Well, in the world of marketing, that's called brand positioning. Right, but I don't use that terminology. I'll use regular terminologies that tattooists can understand because I'm talking to tattooists about marketing their business. I haven't met one yet that wants to talk to me about that because they're like, I didn't get into it to do this. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be difficult and it can be creative. If you do it my way, you can actually enjoy it because it's not terrible. A lot of them feel like, because they're doing it wrong, because they've got 5 tips how to do your business, definitely succeed. What they're doing is they end up in this hamster ball of, I've been told I've got to post on the internet 5 times a day and I'm having to create things that because I haven't got any content. And it's because but nobody's defined success yet.
Yeah.
You don't, and they feel trapped in this hamster ball of like, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I've been told I've got to do it and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's pointless. And I'm like, yeah, because you didn't define the outcome. Right. It might be like the guy that you're talking about. You never need to do a discounted day. You never need to do nothing. You don't need more than a week in your diary. You'll be absolutely fine. Yeah. He's doing great. He's living the dream just like everybody else. Why should he change what he's doing? Now, he may have
There's just a lot of people out there that are just working a little bit too hard and not too smart.
Yeah. But it's because...
when you can do both.
But it's because there's a lot of people, as tattooing's got bigger, there's a lot of people that have come in to prey on us, to tell us they offer all this stuff. My opinion of marketing people is that the buzzwords and a lot of the bullshit that they put into that is really to make it sound so difficult that you employ them to do it. When realistically, if everybody spoke in plain English, you'd realise that it's about common sense, a little bit of advice from somebody like me that's done it, but it's about common sense and understanding human behaviour. That's really all it is. Like, I can design all the signage in an airport, like, no problem. Without any, but because all I have to understand is, if you're looking for the toilet and you're in an airport in Tokyo, I need to show the sign of a man going, I need a wee, right? And you need to go, oh, that's the toilet sign. And you'll follow it at any point where there's a point where you need to make a decision about, shit, is it left or right? I need to give you another sign to go toilets this way. Yeah. It's human behaviour. So if you understand that about your business, like I tell people all the time about your brand positioning and the layer cake idea. You know, the other analogy I've got is like putting your business on Tinder, right? If I go on Tinder and I'm looking for a new wife and a long-term relationship, but all my mates have told me, in order to get loads of people swiping right, you've got to say you're looking for a quick shag, right? And I go and do that. Right. All I'm going to get is loads of people. If I'm looking for a soulmate and all I've got is women who just want to have a quick shag, then I'm not going to find my soulmate, am I? I'm advertising in the right place. It's single people looking for partners, but I'm advertising the wrong type of thing. So by following the wrong advice, all you're doing is putting your business on Tinder and like going, if I'm looking for big sleeves, but I'm advertising little bangers, what do you think you're going to get? You're only going to get bangers, but you want sleeves, and then you'll be unhappy because you've got all the wrong stuff. And you're doing all the wrong marketing.
So you need to target the audiences where the audience actually is.
Yeah, but you'll understand where the audience is once you've defined what success is for you, and once you've decided what your business actually is and who you're looking for and where you want to be. Which part of the layer cake do you want to be in? Because some people, living the dream for them is the bottom layer. Yeah. Or like just want good studio, loads of footfall. I'll tattoo whatever comes through the door. Absolutely love it. One of my kids, both of my kids are very different from me. They're real tattooers because they grew up in tattoo studios. So my son loves tattooing. He grew up here, right? It's all around him. It's in his DNA. But he gets really despondent because his dad has got this art style. And it wasn't until I told him, you know, a few years into his career, I went, but what you've got to remember is I grew up in a recording studio. I'm not a real tattooist. You are. This is your family business. And the reason you love all of the tattooing and you don't need your own style is you really are a tattooist. And all you want to do is have people come through the door, go, mate, I was thinking of getting this. You make a brilliant job of it. And they go away happy. And that he really is. And I think just explaining that to him changed the way he markets his business now. Because he was like, oh, you can just do everything and you can be good. And it's not a second-class citizen in the world of tattooing. It's that ego thing. Oh, I make my own artwork, so I'm better than you. It's like, you can do flash all day long and be way better tattooist than me.
Yeah. If it works for you, it works for you.
Right,
It really is as simple as that.
Yeah, just do you.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about like keeping it into like simple terminology. It really just come down to if it works for you, it works for you. But
yeah,
the idea of like going to the places where your target audience is, that's definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah.
There was this thing on Instagram. I don't know if you've found about it recently. If you go into your followers, you can find all the accounts inside your followers that have been flagged as spam.
Right. No, I haven't looked at it.
I had about 6,000 on mine.
Yeah.
So I just pressed removed all. Yeah, you lose 6,000 followers.
Yeah, but you're not though. You're losing 6,000 bots.
Yes, exactly.
They're not looking at your work. Yeah.
So you see my Instagram following go down and down. You'll see it do that like once every month.
Yeah.
But by removing these profiles, when I post, my work is actually going in front of the people that need to see my work and not these bots.
Good shout.
Then the algorithm will pick up on it and
just trim it all out. Just trim out all the followers. Just delete them all off. Exactly. I think that's a really good bit of advice. It's like there's an ego bit where you go, oh, but I'm going to lose my X thousand followers. It's like, well, like no one cares.
I would rather have 500 followers and my post reach all 500 of those followers than have 5 million followers and it reach 0.02%.
Exactly. You know, I'd argue that you shouldn't go after followers at all. No, my argument is, for the longest time now, has been the reason some people struggle is that they go for followers, not fans. Yeah. What you've got to do is cultivate fans of what you do, and again, really understand what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like most artists, I don't know if you've seen this thing that I've done. I've got it's not my theory. I've stolen it from the music business. It's called the 1,000 fan theory. With only 1,000 fans. You can happily make £100,000 a year.
Something I want to touch on there is a lot of people think it's really hard to find the clients.
Yeah.
It is to a certain degree. It's harder to keep that client than what it is to find that client.
There you go. Yeah.
To keep that client, go above and beyond in your service. Like if you're one of the artists that want to do the design in the morning, it's not something I personally agree with, but we're not here to do that. I'll do all my designs the night before, and a couple of days before I'll get in contact with my client and we'll go for design ideas. I'll probably send them a rough sketch and I'll refine it the night before the tattoo. Yeah. That's my process. That's how I work best.
Yeah.
I've had clients in the past that have messaged me saying, I'm getting really anxious about my tattoo. Can we please talk about the design? It's like a month ahead.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Yeah. How can I help you? What do you want?
Absolutely.
Clients walk through the door. Do you want a cup of tea? The first thing out of my mouth is, do you want a drink? Come upstairs.
Talking about that, we had a client in the other day. He's got loads of tattoos. We were the first studio he'd ever been in, and all the time he'd been getting tattooed, they'd ever given him a cup of coffee.
Really?
First studio ever. And we were like, all of us were like, what? You got loads of work on you. Nobody's ever give you a cup of coffee. And he's like, I couldn't believe it. He was gobsmacked.
Yeah.
And as simple as that. And the example I use, exactly what you're saying. I was talking to my daughter about this, and I went, and that's how small the difference can be. Because that guy said, well, I'm definitely coming back here. And what made the difference? One cup of coffee. How much did that one cup of coffee cost me?
Yeah,
I mean, if that, mate, like if I'd have known, and I say to people, you think buying a jar of coffee is expensive.
Mate,
but
we do this thing in the studio where every now and again I'll have a moment of madness and I'll decide to buy Starbucks or Costa or like a local coffee shop for the whole studio, clients included.
Yeah.
It might cost me 30, 40, even 50 quid for that one round, but those clients are coming back.
They all come
just
back.
for that one cup of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just the artwork they're there for. They're paying to spend the day with you as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're paying for the products, but they're paying for your time to create the products.
Yeah.
You turn up, You charge £1,000 a day, you stick your headphones on, you ignore your client all day, no breaks, nothing for the client. It's like, okay, leave the money on the side, take care.
Yeah.
That client ain't coming back.
No.
But if you charge 500 quid a day and give this client an experience of a tattoo, that £500 tattoo is going to turn into 10 £500 tattoos for that client and all that client's mates.
Right, so we've talked about most of what I want to talk to you about, right? But the one thing we haven't touched on, because I think it's something that we've got in common, we've both got a fascination with teaching and seminars.
Yeah.
And I think we have a similar take on them, that it's not about personal promotion and fame, that actually it's something that we want to put back into the industry and take the stuff that we've learned and put back in. So when you approach a seminar, do you approach it from a how to do tattoos point of view? Or do you do it from a how to tattoo like me point of view, or what? What's the format of it?
It's an accumulation of 14 years of mistakes.
Yes.
Put into around about 8 hours of simple, easy to digest, kind of tattoo for dummies in a way. Explain to people. So whatever I've learned over the 14 years, it's all about getting the skin to accept the tattoo and heal as good as it's going to heal and make the client comfortable. But it's full of loads of little things.
Is that a single day?
It's a single day,
So it's a single 8 hour day?
Which I don't try to overload people with too much information. It's why I find it's really important to dumb it down.
Are you tattooing while you're doing the seminar?
Yes.
Yes.
So it starts with like a 2 to 3 hour talk, roughly. Then we go have some food, and then I do kind of like an A5 size tattoo after that.
Right. Okay.
The tattoo is going to take me like 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
Probably more towards the 3 hours to finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you do a Q&A at the end, something like that?
Just throughout the whole day.
Throughout the whole day?
Throughout the whole day.
Okay.
It's really laid back. It's really chilled. People can ask as many questions. I encourage people to ask as many questions as they possibly can, because at the end of the day, for whatever reason, these guys have put their day aside to come and watch me tattoo and ask questions. They need to get as much out of me as they possibly can to make it worth their while.
I think that's fair comment.
So ask loads and loads. It can be stupid. What size gloves are you? I'll tell you what size gloves I am. And I'll tell you what brand of gloves I wear, for what reason. And it's not just going to be a case of I use this needle because I like it.
Right,
I will tell you why I use this needle. We will go into a needle theory. We will go into different shapes, sizes, bevels, everything. We'll go into the lot. As deep down as I can possibly get, but it's all got to be simple. If you walk, I can't give you 14 years. You can't give me your 15 years of knowledge. I can't give you my 14 years in 8 hours. It's impossible. No. But if you can give me the core of it, the bulk of it, in a simple, dumb way, with relatable metaphors.
Accessible is a better word. A more accessible way.
Thank you. I'm going to use that on the next one. Accessible way. I find metaphors really help get my point across to people.
I use lots.
It's like people seem to think like with stroke. I'm surprised how many people don't understand stroke. That people seem to think it's the amount of protrusion the needle comes out.
Needle hang.
It's not.
I'm forever having to explain stroke and hang are different.
Well, why do I use a short stroke machine for doing this and a long stroke machine for doing this? And it's really simple. It's like I just use a hammer and a nail. It's like short stroke. So long stroke.
There you go.
Imagine what that's doing to the skin. Small, simple, but it's easy for people to kind of... It's the light bulb moment.
Absolutely. It's finding a way that you can get people to visualise what's happening, you know. I think for us that becomes easier because, I don't know about yourself, but like mine was, my learning experience was air gaps with coil machines and nickels and dimes. And I'm like, come on, man, I ain't got a nickel and a dime. I'm in Birmingham. So then I'm having to go onto Google, YouTube or Google trying to work out... Right, having to Google, does anybody know what the thickness of a nickel and a dime is? Work out that that's approximately a 5 pence and a 10 pence. And then try to work out, well, which end is the air gap? Where's that? So all of a sudden, only having to worry about the stroke and none of that. Like, it's nice,
Excuse me. I also find it's really important in the seminars, surprisingly, to go completely back to basics.
I think so.
Back to day one of tattooing, how to put a stencil on, how to clean the skin, how to sterilise your equipment properly, how to set up. It's really simple stuff, but a lot of these guys that come to the seminars have been tattooing a lot longer than me. And they've forgot the basics. because they've been concentrating so much on the advanced parts of it.
Yeah.
And I'll be surprised. Well, I am surprised how many people come to these that don't know the needle theory.
Yeah.
That don't know what this size needle is or how it works, or the different gauges.
Yeah.
When I explain it to them, I can physically see the light bulbs going off, and that's the rewarding part to me.
Yeah.
Is when people come and say to me afterwards that was really easy for me to understand, and I'm excited to tattoo tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a really rewarding feeling.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I have that conversation with the guy, particularly about things like needles, because I don't use a lot of curved mags, I use a lot of straight mags. I'm a big fan of straight mags. 0.35, so standard needles, medium taper.
Yeah.
A lot of that is what I do. Not a lot of bug pins in what I do. Like big holes, big needles, that's me. And it's like, when I explain that to these guys, I'm like, well, if I was doing a black and grey portrait, then I'd probably be leaning in there for a bunch of, like double zeros and bug pins or something like that.
I think
that's one that surprises me, the amount of times those terminologies are wrong.
Like the bug pins?
Yeah, they call bug pin needles like the wrong gauge, like referred to as bug pin, and the double zeros are the other way around.
Yeah, so what gauge are you calling a bug pin?
So a bug pin, I've always called it the wrong one. So a bug pin should be a 0.25. A double zero is a 0.30. An 8.
Yeah, an 8.
Yeah, an 8 gauge.
Yeah, but then you get companies like, I'm pretty sure Tatsol, their old bug pins they used to make was a gauge of 9.
Yep.
There's a slightly odd size.
There's a weird,
really weird size. Then you got other companies that'll call a size 10 a bug pin. Yeah. It's not. It's
not really any surprise to me that even artists that have been doing it for a while, like you get used to picking up that box of needles that says bug pin on it, and then but everybody's different. And I think we really ought to work hard on standardising what we call stuff, like and pull people
manufacturers. I use straight liners for all of my big lines.
Yeah.
So they're in between a standard liner and a round shader. They're not quite as open as a round shader. They're in between the two. There's a nice balance between them.
Yeah.
So the needle's still solder back as far as a round shader. It's just got like quite a nice bit of flex on it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to spread or open up as much as a round shader when it touches the skin.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting those round shader lines, those fluffy lines, those like weird little edges when you get in a corner to meet like that.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a nice solid saturated line.
Yeah.
I can probably name about 10 different manufacturers that make straight liners that call them something different. And it's why? Just as you said, standardise things, call things one universal name.
One universal thing. I think that's something that we really ought to push for in the industry. Yeah. So that if I go from Cheyenne needles to a different brand, they should have exactly the same terminology, and I should know exactly what I'm using. Don't use non-standard terminologies. The other one that grips my shit is like, is it pigment or is it ink? And I'm like, it's fucking ink, you dickhead. You know what I mean? Like, it's because you just want to make it sound fancier. It's ink, it's pigment in a solution. Ink, Google it. It's really easy to find it. Stop calling it that. Do you know what I mean? Just stop doing it.
Yeah.
But it's that whole, we want to sound fancier than everyone else. But like what you're doing actually is you're fucking the artists up, because now we don't, like, new artists, do they know what a bug pin is? Do they know which one it is? Yeah. And it's not because they're stupid, it's because each box is labelled different.
But then you do get some of the companies that are making tattoo needles as opposed to PMU needles.
Yeah.
And then they look so similar and they're called a slightly different name.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you're buying. I think you need completely different categories. They need to look different.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go as far as say like making like a different connection or something, but maybe it's something they could look into. Cause I know there are artists out that use PMU needles to tattoo with, but they're made for a different purpose.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they're a lot more expensive. Why would you use PMU needles for tattooing with? They cost a lot more. You know what I mean? It's like things like, is it a round mag or a curved mag? It's like, well, just use one term. Like we just need one term, don't we? Yeah,
but if I can use a 0.0425 triple tight 1.2 round liner, I might be a bit more edgy.
Rather than just a 3-liner. A 3-liner. Yeah, for the longest time, you're one of the first artists I've spoke to in a long time talking about solder on needles.
Really?
And how far solder goes back. And it's another one that, if you haven't been around because I think we're probably, because you're 14 years, I'm 15 years in, so we're probably getting into tattooing around the same time.
So,
of that
although there's an age
crossover
gap between us,
yeah.
we're probably started around about the same time.
Yeah, I'm just a really late starter. I had a lot of other shit I needed to do first. You got on with it a bit better than me. You're running up, you're going a much straighter route.
I started at like 22. Yeah, I was at university when I started.
I was at the end of my 30s, you know. I'd already done the music career and the graphic design career by then. And so, but it's the point of time, the time period is probably just that cusp between the end of needles, or not the end of needles on bars, because plenty of people still use them, but needles on bars versus cartridges. Well, when we were buying our needles on bars, how they were soldered was obvious because you saw them, but actually all that soldering is going on inside the carts.
The solder will provide flex to your needle. It's
Absolutely.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you've got a needle that's soldered there, that ain't going to move fucking nowhere. You've got a needle that's soldered all the way down there. There's so much flex on that needle.
Yeah.
And people don't seem to understand that.
Which is why they'll pick up brands and go, I don't know why I'm stippling all day with a 3 round or a 5 round and it flares open, and I'm like, it's because it's not soldered far enough.
I've seen people get like an 18 round shader and get a lighter on an 18 round shader, and all of a sudden the lining, and they just created 5 individual lines on the skin. Like, why are you flaring open a round shader? It's already open.
It's already open. There's no need. I mean, I know a couple of artists that will take an 18 round, open it, and it's so big they have to cut the ends of the disposable grips off to get it to go in there, and I'm like,
if you're not doing like a single straight, you're like kind of like, you know, you're feathering, as I call it, backwards and forward, you can get away with it a little bit more. But people line them around shaders. For me personally, the seminar's called My Process. So it's what I think I know. In a layman's term.
Good shout,
for me, lining around shaders, a single pass light, it doesn't work around shaders for me personally. I've tried it, I can't get the Hild result, but I can using the liners that I do use.
See, now for me, like I said to you, I don't do a great deal of traditional lining, but what I do, when I am doing anything with a lot of lines in, I build every line. I don't do anything single pass, I build every line, because what I've observed over the last 15 years is the lines that I've sculpted, right, are the lines that hold up better. They hold their integrity better over time, is what I've experienced anyway. Anything that I've, like single lines, and I'm sure there are people out there can do it great, but maybe I've got terrible technique, or maybe it just doesn't suit me. It could be anything, but what I've observed with my stuff is that the sculpted lines, they just look better over time, because I'm seeing stuff that's 15 years old now, and I'm like, those lines look really good. You know, that's starting to feel like they seem to bed in nice into the skin. So whenever I do, and again, like, we can only tell people what we know, what we think we know. So when people ask me about it,
my process, it's not the process.
The process,
it's my process.
So what I do is I do that. I tell look, this is what I've observed, but you might have a better technique than me. So all I can suggest to you is you do both. Keep looking at your tattoos as they come back. Keep an eye on what your work's looking like. Keep your ego out the way. You know what I mean? Stay and look at your work. Be critical of your own work. Be your biggest cheerleader, but also your biggest critic. And improve by going, I know now categorically that will look better.
You know as yourself, as a tattoo artist, if you're not your own worst critic, like,
you're dead.
No one else is going to be.
Don't read your own reviews.
How many times do you sit there zooming in on your own work?
All the time.
Every single tattoo.
Yeah, all the time. You know, sit obsessing over, you know, the 1 3-minute moment that didn't go quite exactly as I wanted it to do, and you know, and all that. And I'm like, is that okay though? Is it okay though? Is it okay
though? So you can be 99.9% happy with the tattoo, but that 1% will be the reason you won't post it.
Well, we only see that 1%, don't we? Because none of us ever think about, you know, we think about the one line that didn't go quite as well. We don't think about the 300 lines we did before that were perfect. We only remember the one line that's like, fucking, there it is. It's like a zit on the Mona Lisa. You know, but I think that's the nature of it. We have to be that hard on ourselves, but we don't have to be too hard on ourselves. You have to also remember that you're human, and that, you know, sometimes the client will move or breathe or cough, and it's like, oh, fuck, how am I going to fix that? You know, it's one of those things, but it's a weird thing to be in between, isn't it? Like, we're, you know, big fan of ourselves, big critic of ourselves. You got to have confidence. You can't have arrogance, because you need to have some self-confidence, and it's balancing all that, I think. And like you say, process seminar. This is what I do. Presenting it in a, this is what I think I know. I love that as an idea. I think that's a great, this is what I think I know. I think that's the great subheading for the seminar.
The marketing genius's advice.
Because I think that presenting it in that way, you're not trying to tell people, this is the only way to do it. You're going, this is what I've learned over the last 15 years. This works for me. Some of it might work for you. All of it might. And I think that's the only way we can really pass on what we're learning is like, this is some stuff I think works. Give it a go. Like you were talking about the Jeff Gogay thing. We both learnt from that. But that's never presented by Jeff as, it's presented as one idea for ways that you could do this.
I kind of feel that like artists of like our generation of like, you know, the 20 to 15 year sort of mark within tattooing kind of seems to be the last generation of in between the old school and the new school. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've got it.
The people that knew the fundamentals before they specialised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, well, because most kids are coming in and specialising now. But also, I don't think that's because they're entitled or anything like that. I think they're, they're because they do, that criticism does get levelled at them, not by you, but it's just, all these entitled kids specialising in the first 6 months.
The special, I don't care about that. You can go specialise straight away.
Because I actually think the reason for that is there's so many artists now. That's the only real option.
If I was doing every single tattoo style under the sun, I wouldn't be here doing this interview with you.
Exactly.
I'm only here because I've done the same style that I've done for the past 10 years.
Exactly, yeah.
It's pretty
It is what it is, yeah.
I mean it in a way of, I think it's important for people to learn the technicalities of being an old school artist in order to better their chances of performing a more specialised tattoo.
I think so. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying go and use a coil machine and make your own needles and stuff. It's not necessary, but it's something that could potentially help.
You know what you could do? Would really help you with that. And let me know if you get through it, because I never got all the way through the book. Read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig, because it talks about exactly that, about the, because it's not about Zen and it's not about motorbikes. It's about knowing the fundamental workings of things in order to create quality.
Yeah.
Right. Look, it's quite clear that Jamie's going to be back, right? Because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to invite him back. You're welcome to come back whenever you can make it.
Sound.
I definitely suggest that you check out his seminar. Check out his work on Instagram. Go and give him a follow and take a look at his work. I mean, for me, personally, I think it's I can tell you for certain, I've seen it in life walking up on a stage. It's some of the brightest fucking tattoos I've ever seen in my life. So, I thought I'd got Photoshop fitted in me fucking glasses. You know, I was like, what the fuck? You know, and it would appear that it's not magic ink, it's not magic needles, it's not magic tattoo machines. It's the culmination of 14 years.
14 years of mistakes.
14 years of mistakes.
And going. 14 years of mistakes and going.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for coming and talking to me.